Hello everyone. As you know, we use growlights with all of our orchids, and even some of our houseplants. We find that it's much easier than trying to figure out if the windows are providing enough light, and we think it even makes the plants look nicer on the shelves. We have used just normal kitchen lights, but I think good quality grow lights can give you much better results, especially with highlight orchids. That's why we didn't play around with our Cattleyas and just ordered strong Sansi grow light bulbs, and we couldn't be happier with how those turned out. We made a video review of these bulbs if you want to check them out.
So when Sansi reached out wanting for us to try their new, smaller shelf-mounting puck lights, our reaction was, yes please. Even though we are in the process of moving and because of that, don't have a shelf to place these long-term yet. But we still found a way to test them. So let's start with unboxing the light and see what comes in this surprisingly compact box. So in the box we have just a light fixture and the instructions. On the website you can also choose if you want the lights to come with a plug for the US, Canada, Europe or the UK. So that's really convenient. As you can see, the pucks look like a smaller version of our other Sansi lights. And they come with double-sided tape already placed for installation.
Sansi lights are built to not overheat, so these have a hollow chamber inside to dissipate heat, and use a ceramic heatsink for the LED chips, and that's how they can make such strong lights safely.
You can select which of the light pucks you want to turn on by pressing the A and B buttons. You press the top button and the LEDs will change color to indicate if you have selected a light period of 4, 8 or 12 hours. Even though we use smart timers for all our lights, the option without a built-in timer was out of stock. So we could test the lights for you before we move and find them a more permanent home. We selected some other plants that could use more light to test them out. Begonias are lower light plants, but because of their colorful leaves, you can tell very quickly if they are getting good light or not. On this other tray, we have our small peperomia collection. And I find that peperomia have a tendency to get really leggy and unattractive as soon as they're not getting the light that they need.
Just so we can unmount them easier in a few months, we won't be using the 3M double-sided tape, and instead we'll be using the zip tie option. This was fiddlier than I expected. In part because we didn't have zip ties that were long enough, but also because the loop where you are supposed to run the zip tie through is placed too low in the light, leaving a lot of the zip tie showing in an unsightly way. So when we place these definitively, we will be using the sticky tape. I think it'll look much better.
These shelves are taller than we wanted, so the lights are further away from the plants than it would be ideal. But this is what we have to work with right now, so it will have to do.
Another thing I didn't love about these lights is that I found the cords to be too short. We plugged them in an outlet that is a bit away from the shelf, and as you can tell by the cord hanging from the second light, that didn't leave enough extra cord to run behind the shelf and make it neater. The website states the cord is 180 centimeters long, and that it should be enough for indoor installation. But to me that doesn't account for outlets that are a bit further away or tall shelves, and above all for keeping the cables running neatly. This is something we can fix with an extension cord, so I guess it's not a big deal, but it is still a bit annoying.
As soon as we turned them on, I could confirm these also have one of my favorite things about the Sansi lights, which is the beautiful light color. These are full spectrum lights, and as amazing as this is for the plants, it also looks so good reflected on the leaves. We have other grow lights that claim to be full spectrum, but are either too pink or too yellow, and these look just perfect to my eyes.
When we got these, even though they are much more compact than our other Sansi lights, I expected them to still look somewhat bulky on the shelf. And they do, but mostly because of our shoddy zip tie mounting. When we place them with the double-sided sticky tape, I expect these to look really nice on our plant shelves, especially for a heavy-duty high-output grow light. They aren't as strong as our other huge 24-watt bulbs, as these are only 10 watts, and as such the advertised light output is around 40 ppfd. This should still be enough for lower light orchids though, especially if you don't grow them in a basement and use these as supplemental light like we do. And I know the specs are more important than what your eyes can see, because we can't even perceive part of the light spectrum the plants use. But as total unscientific evidence, these are very, very bright. Not so bright that they hurt your eyes, but I think you can see by the light reflected on the begonias that these are still very strong lights.
And if we now look at the results after a month of use, it's very clear that these are very good for the plants. Begonias are not exactly highlight plants, and we have grown ours with other type of grow lights, and they look nice. But I can tell a major difference with these lights. These begonias are growing much more compact and bushy, which is something I find hard to achieve with begonias. And as you can see, their colors are much more intense. And it's the same thing with the peperomias. This one shows clearly a difference in how tighter and more compact the newer growth is. And again, we have to remember that the lights are probably way too far away from the plants. When we mount them permanently on a shelf, the distance between the light and the plant will be shorter, so the light will be even more effective.
So that was our little review of these new Sansi lights. And you can't argue with the quality of these as grow lights. Other than a few minor annoyances, I think anyone would be happy to have these for their plants. So if you are interested, we have a link for the product in the description, and Sansi has kindly provided a 32% discount code for our viewers. That's valid until the end of the month.
I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to leave it a like, and you can also use the super thanks button to leave us a tip. You should also subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our videos. We'll see you next week. Goodbye.